Hey guys, Victor here, coming at you again with another deck profile, and for today's video we're going to be doing an updated Reacue-Ace deck. Now, compared to the normal Reacue-Ace profiles that I tend to focus on, which is like the super hand trap heavy, this one's going to be taking a slightly different approach, not because we're not going to be playing a bunch of hand traps, but more because we're going to be changing a lot of the ones that we normally play. And as a result, that means that we're going to be focusing on cards like Dominus Impulse in this specific version, which is normally something that you don't really see me play, but this is an all-fire deck, so it makes sense to play that, right? But as a result, you're not going to be seeing me play anything like the Charmies or Drone Lockbird or Effect Veiler in the main. So with that in mind, let's jump straight into it. As always, I'm going to be starting off with the monster lineup first, and as far as like the Reacue-Ace portion is concerned, it's basically still the same. You're not really going to see too many changes, if any at all. A lot of the new cards that we're going to be trying out are actually going to be in the hand trap portion, the spell and trap portion, and the extra deck. So with that in mind, we're going to be playing 3 Reacue-Ace Airlifter, of course, on normal or special. It searches your deck for any of your Reacue-Ace spells, and if your opponent decides to activate a monster effect on the field, you can tribute this card from your hand or face-up field in order to special summon a Reacue-Ace monster from your hand. So this is basically the card that gets your entire engine going because it adds the emergency, and then from there you can pretty much do whatever you want. And then it's also the one that basically allows you to play during your opponent's turn and special summon out your high-level monster just to be like a general nuisance. Then to accompany our 3 Airlifter, we're going with 3 Reacue-Ace Impulse. Its first effect, to be able to negate a monster effect, genuinely doesn't matter. What we care about is its other effect, where similarly to Airlifter, it's able to activate in the hand or face-up field, and then, unlike Airlifter, it's able to special summon a machine Reacue-Ace from the deck. So this one basically just gives you access to your entire engine, which is really, really solid if you're trying to go like first or second, just because it means that you're going to be able to have some kind of pressure on your opponent, regardless of the turn, right? But yeah, 3 and 3, gotta play them. And then for the other Reacue-Ace monsters, we're playing the 2 Reacue-Ace Hydrant to be able to search out our Reacue-Ace monsters. It also allows us to basically activate our Reacue-Ace spells and traps the turn that they're set. It doesn't come up too often, but every now and then you will find yourself in a situation where you have to do them the exact same turn that they are set. And then if you have like another Reacue-Ace monster in the field, this card can't be targeted, so it has that little extra blanket of protection from cards like Imperm and Veiler. Then for the other 2 we're playing 2 Reacue-Ace Preventer, which is basically our Book of Moon, as long as you control another face-up Reacue-Ace monster. And it's a quick effect, right? So that means that a lot of decks do crumble to basically their monsters being set, as it means that they typically have something like clogging their field, so they can't use it for like material. There are a lot of cards that require you to have like no cards in the field to be able to activate, and then it's just, if this card is able to Book of Moon a key monster, the game is basically just over in like an instant, right? Take Malice, for example. If you're able to set their Dormouse, that's 1 key card that you just shut off for the rest of the turn. And then that's not even to mention that depending on where they place it, you could potentially be cutting off link zones, and like the things that this card can do just escalate so much. And then when it's sent to the graveyard, it's able to bring back one of your banished Reacue-Ace monsters. And that's it for the 2-ofs. And then for the 1-ofs, we're playing the 1-of Reacue-Ace Turbulence because this is the card that allows us to set all our spells and traps as long as it resolves. The 1 Reacue-Ace Fire Engine, which can reborn our level 4 or lower monsters, or summon them from the deck, or summon them from the hand. But basically, like if you summon the Fire Engine, that means that you're typically going to want to bring out something like an Airlifter, for example, just to be able to special summon and then trigger its effect to be able to add a spell from your deck to your hand. And ideally, from that point on, you're going to be able to just completely out-tempo your opponent. And then lastly, we're playing the 1 Reacue-Ace Fire Attacker because this one just allows us to draw more cards and get rid of cards that we don't really need in our hand, right? So yeah, perfectly fine like that. That's the Reacue-Ace lineup. And then for the hand traps, at least for like the monster portion, we're playing 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. It's just a good generic card that lets us beat other cards. And then for the last 3 slots in the main deck, so I have this isn't a proxy, it's just putting it to the side because it really just, it's going to become the card that you choose out of these 2, right? And I opted for either DD Crow or a Bystial lineup. And by Bystial lineup, I mean 1 Magnamut, 1 Joyous Worm, and 1 Baldrake. And if you're going for the DD Crow portion, you're going just all in with 3 DD Crow. And they're both really solid. Lights and darks are pretty much everywhere. So Joyous Worm and Bystial, Magnamut, or Baldrake are pretty much always going to be seeing some kind of play. But there are also a lot of decks that just resolve around the graveyard, right? And you're not going to be able to Bystial them always. Take Mitsurugi, for example, right? They just start prayers, they tribute for cost, and if you have a Bystial in your hand, you can't hit it. But if you have a DD Crow, you can chain it, and then because it's no longer in the graveyard on resolution, the card they tributed will no longer be able to activate. And you can just apply this to so many different decks, right? Such as Mermail Atlantean, for example, where They go normal print, send Dragoon for cost, you chain DD Crow, banish the Dragoon, and they won't get the search off of it. So if it's like super light and dark heavy, the Bystials for sure. But if you just want to be like a more safer on like the generic side, then DD Crow is your way to go. And with that, that's the monster lineup, and now we can finally move on to the spell and trap portion. Now that we're on the spell and trap lineup with the deck, we're going to be playing 3 emergency, which, you know, it's basically a no-brainer, right? This is the emergency teleport of the deck, and what that means is you can special summon a Rescue-Ace monster from your deck in defense position, and then all you have to do after that is tribute a Rescue-Ace monster from either your hand or field. So that includes the card that you summon, right? So there's some like really cute plays where you can go like activate emergency, tribute Preventer, Preventer's graveyard effect will activate, bring back a banished guy, or if you just need like fodder in your graveyard so that you can be able to summon out the Turbulence from your hand, right? You can do that too, as you just special summon whatever, then send the monster that you summon, and then boom, you have 2 cards to special summon Turbulence. And then speaking of Turbulence, this is also one of like those phenomenal ways that we have to be able to dodge key cards like Infinite Impermanence and Effect Veiler, right? As we'll special summon the Turbulence, activate its effect, our opponent will chain their type of negation or whatever, and then we can chain our emergency to their negation and special summon a new monster, send the Turbulence, and then because they can't negate it, our Turbulence will finally resolve, and from there the game is basically just over. So yeah, 3 emergency, you gotta play it. It's a no-brainer. And then for the 1 of Rescue-Ace spells, we're playing the 1 Rescue-Ace HQ to be able to recycle our resources, 1 alert, which allows us to either add back a Rescue-Ace monster from our graveyard to your hand, or if you have Hydrant on the field, you're able to search your deck for any Rescue-Ace card, which basically means this becomes reinforcement of the army, right? So it's either a search or a card that gets back a key resource. And then we're also playing the 1 rescue, as this card basically just allows us to special summon a monster from either our graveyard or the opponent's graveyard. We can special summon from the opponent's graveyard if we have a face-up Hydrant on the field. And that basically means that this basically turns into like a 4th copy of DD Crow or Bystial, depending on how you look at it. And that kind of disruption does kind of just like end the game right then and there in a lot of situations. So yeah, really cool card. That's it for those. And then for some 2-ofs that we're playing, just 1 card being Super Polymerization, which I don't know how to feel about this. I really like it, but then I also really don't like it, mainly because of like the Vanquish Soul matchup, but it's just so good into so many different decks currently that I feel like it's perfectly fine playing it at 2, maybe at 3, depending on like how many Vanquish Souls you might potentially see. But yeah, 2 is perfectly fine. Side the 3rd or side all 3 of them if you want, also in case, like, say for example, you don't want to risk running into the Vanquish Soul matchup. Just side these all, and then when you run into something like a Malice deck or just some kind of like mono type deck or whatever, you can put all 3 in and then be able to clear your opponent's board pretty easily whenever you're going second. And even if you're going first, it's still like a really solid card to set, just because there's so many boards that had to commit to monsters first, and if you're able to get rid of all of them, well, chances are they're probably not going to be able to come back from that. And that's it for the 2-ofs. And then for the 1-ofs, we play 1 for 1 because it's the 3rd copy of our Rescue-Ace Hydrant, 1 reinforcement of the army to be able to add Airlifter or Impulse because they both happen to be warriors, 1 Prod of Prosperity in order to basically just, you know, have that little extra bit of consistency boost. We're playing the 1 Triple Tactics Talent to punish our opponent for hand trapping us, and then the 1 Calm by the Grave to be able to prevent key hand traps from hurting us. And that's it for the spells. And then for the traps, we're playing 3 Dominus Impulse. It's a fire deck entirely, so this card basically just doesn't do anything for us. It doesn't do anything to harm us, I should say, because it does help a lot, right? If your opponent goes like Mitsurugi Prayers, you just activate Dominus Impulse, and then a lot of the time they just can't really play through that. But yeah, you know, card's really solid. If you can afford it, you should probably get it. We're playing 3 Infinite Impermanence instead of Effect Veiler because we don't want to be able to, you know, we actually want to be able to negate our opponent's cards, and we can't do that with Impulse. And then lastly, we have the 1 Contain and the 1 Extinguish, which are the last 2 traps that you're going to be setting off your Turbulence just to be able to ensure that your opponent cannot break your board. And with that, that's the main deck. Should be 40 cards like always, and then we can finally move on to the extra deck. Now that we're on the extra deck portion of the video, we'll be starting off with the fusions that we're playing, and by fusions, I mean super poly targets. So that means we're playing the 1 Mudragon of the Swamp, the 1 Garura Wings of Resonant Life, and the 1 Predaplant dragostapelia. These 3 pretty much allow you to cover most matchups pretty well, I would say. And there are some other key choices that you could play, like Earth Golem at Ignister if you really want to punish the Malice player, or Diplexer Chimera, which is another Cyber's hate card. And then we even have like a brand new one from Duelist Advance that just allows you to like fuse with like a bunch of dragons or something. But for the most part, these 3 are pretty much the core super poly targets that you always want to aim for. That's it for the fusions though. And then for the links, we play 1 Relinquished Anima because we do play level 1 monsters in the form of Hydrant, right? and people are just always sleeping on this card and always forgetting it exists. So it basically just provides you with like a free interaction to try and take an opponent's key card. Then we have the one Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, which you use throughout your combos to be able to add back cards to continue playing during your turn. And it's also really great at just helping you add back cards like Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring after you use them, right? And that also does come up pretty frequently. Then we're playing the one Hiita the Fire Charmer because we play so many fires and you're going to get hit by Ash Blossom at some point that we want to take our opponent's card and just continue to link climb. Then we're also going to be playing one Dharc the Dharc Charmer Gloomy. So this card, it's not like we're struggling for extra deck space, right? And I basically just ultimately decided to add it into the deck anyways, mainly because of the 3 either Bystials or the 3 DD Crows that we're going to be playing, right? And there are like certain situations that you're going to run into where, say, you have to normal summon a DD Crow, or you have to link off a Bystial monster, and then you're going to have to make this. And then because there are so many Dharc cards in the current format, you're going to be able to activate your Dharc Charmer to be able to reborn one of your opponent's monsters and then hopefully go for game a lot more easily. So, yeah, you know, just something to consider. It's not like the greatest thing in the world, but it does come up more often than one might think. Then we're also playing the one IP Masquerena, which is typically going to be going into the SP Little Knight, but we also have additional options in the Knightmare Phoenix in case we want to blow up a back row instead, or the Knightmare Cerberus if you want to destroy a special summon monster. But they're both really solid monsters as well in their own rights that we don't even need to rely on IP Masquerena to be able to summon them, right? Because they're just cards that allow us to break our opponent's board a little bit more consistently. Then for the link 3s, we're playing the one Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames. It's a fire deck. You basically auto-include this in every single fire deck. And then for the link 4s, we're playing the one Salamangreat Raging Phoenix as well as the World Dragon Zealantis to be able to OTK our opponents a little bit more easily. And lastly, we're playing the one Amphibious Swarm Ship Ambler Whale, which is basically going to be like your key end piece whenever you go for the Promethean Princess line. So with that, that's the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!